Hello and welcome back to the Loyal Sun Show. That's at the Loyal Suns on all the social medias. Follow us there, follow us here for Pitt sports content you won't want to miss. If you love having a future at quarterback and hate the NCAA slide rules, this is the place for you. The Loyal Sun Show, a safe, sunshiny place for your Pitt athletics fix, brought to you by Section 5. All right, let's not beat around the bush here. We're recording this Sunday morning. Pitt lost a heartbreaking, embarrassing, inexplicable game to the Wake Forest Demon Deacons yesterday to move to 2-5 on the season. Controversial game, but let's not jump right to the end here. How we feeling post game? What are your thoughts? What are our emotions? If you're watching the video, you two have Pitt gear on. I couldn't pull myself to do it this morning. I just have the Steelers gear. It's Steelers Sunday.
Oh, I have Pitt basketball on. We can talk
Ah,
about that masterpiece of a game that we saw a glimpse of later, but we'll start at the beginning, I guess. Veer looked really good, and we were passing the ball. Thought we were going to win 35-7 out of the gate.
Yeah, that first drive instilled a lot of confidence. Veer looked good. The play calling made sense. And it very much looked like what we expected, right? Squidders, I thought we were going to win this game by 4 touchdowns. Wake Forest wasn't letting that scout team quarterback throw a downfield pass, and it looked like things were very much going to go our way.
I think you hit on it unintentionally there, David. The play calling looked like it made sense on the first drive, and after that, I don't think it did for a second until the last drive.
I know we want to walk through the game first, but I can't let us go into a third minute of this episode without saying Frank Cignetti should have been forced to walk home from Winston-Salem.
Do you think he realized, like, leaving the field, like, maybe I was calling the wrong plays the whole game?
can
Maybe
I?
every 3rd and 3, I shouldn't have ran it into a loaded box.
So the third down play calling was pretty head scratching. Can I offer some counterpoints here? Pitt went over 400 total yards of offense, had a 300-yard passer, 100-yard rusher, and 100-yard receiver, and did not turn the ball over once.
I think that supports our point.
And we scored 17 points somehow.
We got 17 points out of all of that. This team clearly has the tools and the guys to have a cohesive offense. And maybe, what you're saying is a plus for Frank Cignetti schematically, but his in-game decision-making and personnel decisions are abysmal. To get 17 points out of all of those things is unthinkable.
Bub Means looked like the best receiver in the conference last night. I don't know how they didn't think, like, yeah, let's just do what we did week 1 and just throw it up to Bub. This time we have a quarterback that didn't make the throws.
Well, they did. They should
have done more.
Not to take away from his stat line, but did he have 20 targets?
I don't know what the final number was, but it was a lot. Yeah, Bub looked good, and I hear what you guys are saying. I think we watched how many third downs that were like 3rd and 3. It's like, okay, let's run SIBO into a pile of bodies. There was a 3rd and 1 in the third quarter. I believe it was our second offensive possession in the second half. 3rd and 1, Veer very well could have sneaked it. I don't think there was a single guy lined up over the center. Instead, we run a motion to the right side and run SIBO to that side. Everyone in the world could have told you what they were going to run. And shocker, they didn't get it. So I agree there. I also think 13 penalties, 100 penalty yards doesn't help either. A ton of pre-snap stuff. I don't know what's going on up front. I don't know if that's just young guys on the O line, new guys trying to get acclimated. What Borbley's crew is doing up there, so that put them behind the chains a lot. So yeah, I mean, listen, I'm not going to give Cignetti any passes at any point. I've seen enough of his offenses to know that I would like to move on after the season to a different offensive coordinator. But in the scheme of things, I think this was far from one of his worst performances. I think they were moving the ball. I also think I don't know if it's a Narduzzi effect or if it's Cignetti, but I think they were playing very passive and basically were okay trying to win this game 10-7 in classic Narduzzi fashion.
Yeah, last night I think I might have said this was my least favorite Cignetti game. Maybe now that I'm out of the moment, had a few hours to sober up, I can realize that was a little bit extreme. We're not like that bad, but there were so many times the defense would make a stop. We'd get the ball, we'd have a 3rd and short, like one more first down, or at least in field goal range, and they would just do something stupid. It was infuriating how that game was as close as it was for the first half. I think in the second half, we thought like, okay, let's just get some momentum and put them away. It never happened. It was the same thing over and over.
I unfortunately have to give some credit to Dave Clawson. And I know we are number one. Dave Clawson is an overrated coach, guys. But I thought he called a pretty smart game plan given what he had on the field. I thought it was very smart of him to have his secondary play back the way they did. How many 4 to 6 yard outs did they just like willfully give up to Pitt? And the idea being, yeah, we'll give Veer Veer's got an arm. Don't let him go deep. Keep everything underneath us, and then give Pitt more opportunities to screw up 3rd and short. Pack the box, play the corners back a little bit, let Pitt try to death by 1,000 paper cut us, and then let a terrible offensive coordinator blow decisions on 3rd and 4th and short. I do have to give Clawson credit for that, but everything from there is just Pitt shooting itself in the foot. It's hard to, dink and dunk your way up the field when every third play call is a bad one, and every other series of 4 downs you get a pre-snap penalty, and now it's 1st and 15.
My big takeaway was Cignetti fell in love with trying to do just enough to get a first down. It seemed like we'd be like, all right, 3rd and 3, we have to get 4 yards right here. Like Veer was throwing the ball very well. We were picking up 3rd and longs when we're throwing the ball. Just spread them out a little bit. It was so predictable and so dumb watching the whole defense just collapse on SIBO.
I think Cignetti and Canada have a group message. And I'm convinced, actually, at this point, that they both know they're going to be fired at the end of the season. And they are enacting revenge on the city that reviles them and chants for their firing and boos them every single game by subjecting us to torture by this brand of football. Because it's the same. We're about to head up the Reds or whatever for the Steelers game, and we're going to watch the same exact thing. And it seems like they are trying to mirror each other.
I did think there were some elements to that, how when we watched the Steelers, Kenny Pickett looked so much better in the hurry-up offense or the 2-minute drill.
Yes.
It's like, oh, should have done that the whole game. I keep saying the same thing over and over in different ways, but it's just that.
I feel like we're in the Twilight Zone.
We lost a game. We scored 2 touchdowns and a field goal, and I'm walking away thinking our quarterback looked so good. We scored 17 points.
Okay. I can't talk much more about offensive coordinators in the city of Pittsburgh, or I'm going to have like serious personal issues.
Mm-hmm.
Can we talk a little bit about just Veilleux in general as a guy? Because I think this game, I think the Louisville game was nice. It was nice to see him hit some big throws. He also went 12 for 26, 200 yards. This game, Veer made several throws. So he went 28 for 45, 302 yards, 2 touchdowns. And the stats are nice, but more than anything, some of the throws I saw Veer make yesterday, some of these deep out routes, the deep ball to Bub Means for the game-winning or go-ahead touchdown. Should have been game-winning touchdown. I think we can confidently say now we have a guy to move forward with that we have
Yes.
2 years with. And that's my biggest takeaway, and that's what I'm going to tell myself for the rest of the week, that I'm not as upset about the loss, because I feel like after yesterday, I can say, wow, we have 2 more years of this guy. Like, did you guys watch him yesterday and think what I was watching the game, and I'm like, okay, this is a real deal, like can be a top level of the ACC, like first tier of the ACC quarterback in a
Yes.
year or two.
Mhm.
Yeah, and I mean, there's going to be growing pains, obviously,
Right.
And it's going to be difficult for us to watch an offense going through growing pains with a guy who doesn't know how to call plays, sorry to bring it back up, and then a defense that's doing things I've never seen a Pat Narduzzi defense do. But yeah, he gives a lot of promise, and there's a lot to be worked on. There's so many pre-snap penalties. Seems to be a lack of communication with the line sometimes, and every third
If
time,
only there was a way to get him a few more reps, like before last week,
crazy, right?
Mm.
And we don't have to talk about how every fourth pass is just like a clear miscommunication that he throws to absolutely nobody. So there's some stuff that needs to be worked out, but God, can they just hold the program together and keep the recruits interested and keep guys from the portal while we figure this out? Because as terrible as yesterday was, and that was an all-time pitting, like first
we're
ballot,
getting to that. We're getting to
first
that.
ballot Hall of Fame pitting. But God, it just feels like if they can hold on while they work things out, we have a guy that we can build around. A very, very serious quarterback.
He makes tough throws. Guys who aren't good at quarterbacks don't make those like tough throws that he was making.
I don't want to get ahead of myself, and I'm absolutely getting ahead of myself, but I think Veilleux's ceiling is like top 3 Pitt quarterback ever. And we all know who would round out that top 3. And now maybe that's also a commentary on like name the 3rd best quarterback ever. But like the kid, Kavanaugh?
Van Pelt had the most passing yards. Sleeper, Rod Rutherford, Chad Wojtek.
Yeah, so this kind of proves the point a little bit. There's 2 guys that, we need to build a statue of, and then there's a muddle of guys who also took snaps at quarterback. And I think his ceiling is absolutely, in the middle of that, which would make him top 3. But I'm just saying, we have a guy. A certified guy.
Yeah. I'll take a guy. And I think we said this after we were 1-4. I think we said, well, what can the rest of the season be? And we talked with Noah about it. It's like, if you can finish this season confidently saying that your future quarterback is on this roster, then that's something. That's something to take from this season. So I think we have him. And also, I love that they let him throw the ball 45 times, because best way to get better is to have game reps, have those in-game situations. So letting him throw the ball 45 times, I love that. And I think that's what the rest of the season has to be, right? It has to be letting Veer figure things out, let him have his growing pains, and get him as many reps as possible for 2024. So now that we've given our praise to Veer on his performance, I think we have no choice but to discuss the conclusion of this game, how it rounded out. So Veer gets the ball at 2:51, goes down the field in about a minute 20, I believe it was. Or I could have my numbers slightly wrong there. Basically, Veer leads a game go-ahead drive, hits Bub Means on the touchdown, go-ahead touchdown. And Pitt gives the ball back to Wake Forest. MJ Devonshire picks the ball off. Presumably, the game should have been over or close to it. Then the ensuing events were the pitting, the first ballot Hall of Fame pitting that David referred to earlier. MJ Devonshire picks off the ball, and then everything kind of unravels. Donovan McMillan inexplicably grabs the guy who MJ Devonshire was covering, who was kind of wrestling for the ball. Every receiver does it when the ball gets picked off, and grabs him by the arm and drags him about 5 yards. Penalty flag comes out. First unsportsmanlike penalty. Thanks for that, Squid. First penalty flag comes out of the pocket. And then as they run to celebrate, he runs into a Wake Forest player who may have given him like a little forearm, but not enough to elicit the reaction of shoving the guy in the chest and getting your second unsportsmanlike conduct penalty within 10 seconds. So instead of having the ball at 30, 40-yard line, we're backed up inside our own red zone. So that's where it starts.
So I'll be honest, I'm just finding that little sequence out. As you said, I was at a wedding. Again, please stop inviting me to your fall weddings.
I was at a gender reveal, so I was like half watching this. Actually, when Bub Means caught the touchdown, they had just announced that it was going to be a baby boy. So I'm like cheering, and everyone thinks I'm like literally in sync with everyone else cheering about the boy being announced. But I was actually cheering for Bub Means. But go ahead.
Yeah, well, stop having babies in the fall. Stop getting married in the fall. Although, congrats to Nate and Kelsey. That was a blast. So, I'm watching on my phone at dinner, and all I saw was that a penalty came out, and then we were back at the goal line. I didn't realize that Donovan McMillan fired up a double unsportsmanlike conduct.
Yes, he was ejected that play, wasn't he?
I believe
he got
so.
2.
Yeah, if you get 2, you're ejected. So,
but yeah, it was one of those things. As a guy who was watching in a normal setting, we didn't even really care. We're like, that's stupid, but this game should be over. Like, let's just do this. Close it out. Doesn't matter. And then it's one of those things where you get to the end and you're like, would have been nice if we didn't give them the ball at the 50 because of a terrible punt. That's my first dig at David's midseason MVP.
Oh, please.
Yeah.
I've never been proven so wrong so fast.
So you get to the end and it's like, well, if we didn't have 2 personal fouls on the same play and a bad punt and we gave up that big play and the slide and this, if maybe one of those 6 things don't happen, we probably win.
MJ Devonshire.
No, we did a lot of stupid things.
I'm looking at MJ Devonshire catches the ball, picks it off at 29, 28, and then Pitt takes their first offensive snap from the 7. So I don't know how that math works out, but almost a 30-yard penalty, whatever it was. Yeah, so Pitt gets the ball back. Wake Forest has 2 timeouts. I'm sorry, they had 3 timeouts. They called one after the SIBO first down. Then there was a penalty, so clock stops. And then we get to the slide. A controversial slide in a Pitt Wake Forest game. Who would have thought?
I mean, is anyone surprised that the first game-changing implementation of the Kenny Pickett rule would happen to cost Pitt a game against Wake Forest?
Fucking stupid.
You reap what you sow, I guess. This is why Pitt is a cursed program.
It was one of those things where it's cool to see all the national media guys on Twitter tweeting about Pitt, but it's always for the stupid things.
It's what's shitty is like, by the letter of the law, that's the right call, right? Like if you read, if by the letter, the play is dead the second the quarterback initiates the slide, and they're like looking at your hips, like the second your hips start to drop, it counts. And yeah, if you look at the freeze frames, Veer initiates it about half a yard short. But I'm a big spirit of the law guy. That is not what it was intended for. And you are not going to find another situation where a quarterback slides and they take them back the second you can tell they start to think about sliding. They put the ball where the ass hits every time, except for when we needed them to.
No, it was definitely a case of the referee saw where the first down marker was, and he took that into account. If this happens and it's 2nd and 20 and Veer runs for 10 and does the same exact run, they mark him 11 yards downfield.
Oh,
I'm convinced that was a big factor in the play.
That ref was really pumped. Like, dude made it about himself. He got his moment. That was his moment.
I was gonna say this is a perfect example of the official just doing too much. Like, if you watch the play, everyone on the field, from the Pitt players to the Wake Forest players, knows Wake Forest's defense is like, oh, we just got beat. Like, they went and got the first down. But the ref, the official, sees it and is like, wait. No.
Here's my chance.
This is the rule, and I'm gonna mark him a yard short. And like you said, the spirit of the rule, David, Bart is blocking this cornerback or linebacker 8 yards into the sideline. Like, there's no threat of Veer getting hit, and it's like very clear that Veer was going down to stay in bounds to stop the clock. And like you said, by the letter of the law, that's the rule. It pains me to watch just some stupid technicality like that.
Exactly. If it's so stupid, because if the opposite happens and the ref, excuse me, my voice is all fucked up.
Yeah, we're all struggling.
Here.
We're all struggling right now.
Okay, I'll try that again.
We all sound like Louis Armstrong.
How I can tell if a rule is stupid is if they mark that as a first down, like they gave them 10.5 yards, nobody's complaining.
Not a single person.
If there's like a Wake Forest fan who's like, well, technically, if you look at this screenshot here, everyone would be like, shut up, dude.
They're getting laughed off of. Yeah, they're like getting laughed off of whatever medium they're spreading that bullshit.
There are like 6 people on Wake Forest's version of Panther Lair like throwing a fit about it, and
everybody else saying, "Shut up, dude!" Like, we had our 3rd string quarterback in. They fought, whatever. My other argument is, does the rule not take into consideration that I think you could make an argument that slide was almost a dive, because it was. A slide is you are just getting down at a specific point to avoid being hit. That he was aiming his slide for that little 1-yard pocket between the sideline and past the first down line. Does that make sense? Like, he wasn't hitting the deck. He was almost diving feet first for that spot. And I guess the rule doesn't take that into consideration.
The point was made yesterday that if that was a running back who had got the handoff and took the ball to the outside and did that exact play, he would have been marked down past the first down line. But because it was a quarterback, the rule designed to protect quarterbacks, the technicality involved, I honestly believe if Sibo had taken the carry there and done the exact same thing, he would be given the first down. I 100% believe that.
I'm shocked that something bad happened the first time Cignetti made a good play call since the first drive.
Yeah, what a call.
As Veilleux was running that, I was thinking, like, dude, Cignetti's just in his bag. The first drive of games and like knockout blows. Just has a play sheet a mile long for what to do situationally when you need to run out the clock. And that's the best thing I can say about him. Do you guys put any blame on Veer?
It's kind of annoying. I know after the game, Narduzzi was like, yep, if you dive, we win. Rookie mistake. Which,
also,
true.
I mean,
Narduzzi threw him under the bus.
Yes, Narduzzi did throw him under the bus. If you dive, we win. Also, if he just runs out of bounds, we still probably win. There would have been what was, let's look at the time here. 50 seconds,
50 seconds,
49,
2 timeout.
49, 2
I s-
timeouts. You kneel twice.
They get the ball with
Maybe.
9 seconds left. I saw someone tweet
Yeah.
it. Yeah, someone did the math already. But he made a heads up play by sliding in bounds. But it's like the galaxy brain meme. There's like normal brain running out of bounds. Then like the brain with like light emitting out of it is sliding inbounds. And then the one where the guy is achieving nirvana, that is sliding headfirst inbounds. Like he made a smart play. I guess there was just a real galaxy brain play he could have made instead.
Yeah. Narduzzi pissing me off moment of the week in his post-game presser was throwing Veer under the bus. When Narduzzi is always the first one to say, like, yeah, our guy made the right play, but he got wrong. Like, but no, he decides to throw his new quarterback under the bus and then defending the Donovan McMillan pulling a guy off the pile play. So where Narduzzi's allegiances are, I'll never really know. I'll never understand. And I get it. Like, yes, Veer could have dove forward. He could have ran out of bounds. Would have been a better outcome.
But sliding is safer.
Yeah, it's.
I'm getting to a point. I haven't figured out how I'm blaming this game on Narduzzi past the standard. Like after the 2021 season, how could you say that Frank Cignetti is going to help build off of that success? The hiring Frank Cignetti is the obvious, like, how this is somehow Narduzzi's fault. But I'm getting to the point where I'm looking for reasons to blame Narduzzi because I am pissed and I don't know where to direct it beyond Cignetti. We are losing games we should win, and it is somebody's fault. And I think long term,
13 penalties. You can always
start there.
Discipline. We want to start there. We want to blame. I mean, it's his football team. His football team committed 13 penalties yesterday.
The defense that he spends 85% of his time with can't snuff out a third string quarterback who like probably got his jersey for the first time this week. Like
I go back and forth on the defense. I keep saying like, man, they couldn't make a stop when it mattered the most. It's like, well, they did, and then they got the ball back somehow. So 80% of the game, it was like great job defense. Maybe our offense can finally put something together here and get a lead. Did not happen. Could not happen. Had some interceptions. I mean, how many sacks we would have liked?
Yeah, it would have
been big plays.
You guys want to guess who had sacks yesterday?
AJ Woods.
AJ Woods had 2 sacks. Not a linebacker or a defensive lineman touched the quarterback yesterday. Yeah. This is the worst offensive line in the ACC they faced. And I know they were going quick. Getting the ball out of his hand quick, keeping it short because he is a
bad passer.
Third string quarterback, right? A sophomore, but
behind 2 quarterbacks who haven't been particularly good themselves.
Right. And we couldn't dial up anything on him. It was pathetic.
Yeah. I mean, defense fell apart at the end. Inexplicable letting them go, whatever it was, 48 yards in 40 seconds. But hey, we tried to trick ourselves. This isn't a good football team. There's a reason they're 2-5. There have been decisions throughout the year, and I think like all we can really take from this game is Veer played well. We have some future there, but there's still a lot of shit that needs fixed.
Yeah, this is a bad football team, but it's not a fundamentally bad football team. A team
There's talent.
A team that could very well be 5-2, but is 2-5, is not bad because they're fundamentally bad. They're bad because they do the shit that takes you from 5-2 to 2-5. Penalties, late game collapses, poor decision making, poor personnel decisions.
Yeah.
And that's what makes it frustrating. If they were 2-5 getting the shit kicked out of them, like justifiably, game in and game out, that is one thing. We can sit back and, we don't have to make a big deal about games as much on Saturdays. Just watch on one of the TVs we have set up and hope for some glimmers of light, some Veilleux moments. But instead, we're stuck with a team that just shoots itself in the foot by starting the wrong guy, by calling the wrong play, by whatever the fuck black magic happened by that sideline on Saturday. And that's what kills us.
It's going to kill me.
Yeah. Yeah, it hurts. I mean, it hurts being 2-5. It hurts. It stings a little more being 2-5, staring down the 2 best teams on your schedule. Got heading into South Bend and then having undefeated Florida State come up to town. So
it's going to be even crazier when we inevitably beat one of those teams.
Yeah,
and then lose to Syracuse.
I think there is no part of me thinks we will be 2-7 in 2 weeks, and that's what's so fun and hilarious about being a Pitt fan. It's like we will figure out a way to win one of these games. But I think we summed it up. We got stuff we needed off our chest about that Wake Forest game. What a just hilarious. I'll cap it off with this. We were bebopping around yesterday up in Brookline, getting some drinks at some different establishments, and I walk into one of them, and guy just stops me. He goes, "Oh, that just pissed me off," talking about my Pitt shirt I had on, and I was like, "Oh, is this guy gonna be like a Penn State fan or a West Virginia fan?" And he was like, "I was like, huh?" Like, yeah, like, "Oh, my Pitt shirt." He's like, "Dude, I was at work and I watched the end of that game." And he's like, "And I had tried to flush it out of my mind." He's like, "I'm a Pitt fan." And I was like, "Okay, we're in the clear here." He's like, "And just seeing your shirt just pissed me off." Like that. He was like, "That was just such a typical like Pitt way to lose that game." And I'm like, "Yep, we're all on the same team, brother." And you know what? You and I are both gonna watch the game next week. And I was like, "Actually, I'm going to South Bend for the game next week, and I'm gonna root my heart out." He's like, "Yep, it's the life we live." So we're all in the same boat here. It is what it is. It's being a Pitt fan.
Are you or someone you know looking for work in a recession-proof industry? Are you someone that's interested in things like having health care, having a 401k, immediate PTO accrual, an employee assistance program, or referral payouts? Our newest sponsor, Haddad Accelerated Delivery, an Amazon delivery partner, is looking for safety-minded and dependable drivers to join their delivery service team. Be a part of a company that will encourage self-ownership and award bonuses based on exceptional safety and delivery efforts. This is the ideal gig for individuals seeking full-time work or students interested in making some pretty good money during breaks. If you or someone you know is safety-focused, hardworking, organized, efficient, and team-oriented, text HADD to 464-646 to apply. I understand that is an impossible string of letters and numbers, so here it is again. That's HADD to 464-646. For a job that's the total package, get it? Because it's deliveries. Haddad Accelerated Delivery is the place for you. Hey, Panther Nation. Have you ever crashed your spin scooter going down Cardiac Hill? Or wiped out on an icy sidewalk in South Oakland? Have you ever been hit by a bus crossing Forbes Avenue? Well, you may not have to pay that hospital bill on your own. If you're hurt in an accident, pick up the phone and call Guido at Gurrera Law. Guido Gurrera is a University of Pittsburgh Law School grad, Pitt football superfan, an experienced personal injury attorney who's licensed in Pennsylvania and Ohio. And it is 100% free to call him for consultation on your personal injury case. So the next time you get rear-ended in Oakland rush hour traffic, or if you fall down the stairs at Peters, call Guido. All joking aside, Oakland and the world can be a very dangerous place. If you need legal help, talk to Guido. He'll treat you like a fellow Pitt fan and never like a number. 412-229-7757 is the number to call. That's 412-229-7757 to call Guido. You can also contact Gurrera Law at gurreralaw.com. That's Gurrera. Call Guido today.
Before we log off here, can we talk about secret basketball scrimmage?
Please.
Like 5 minutes on secret basketball scrimmage.
Really well kept secret.
Well kept secret of the
Have
videos.
you ever seen highlights posted from a secret scrimmage? Is that allowed? Did we break like an unwritten rule of secret scrimmages?
I think secret scrimmages have been around in the last few years, have just garnered so much momentum.
So I'm kind of new to the secret scrimmage. Will you guys just 10 seconds explain to me why they are a thing?
So every year, like programs of similar statures, like power conference programs, and I'm sure lower level conferences do the same thing, but they set up these secret, they're private, they're just not open to the public scrimmages to get some preseason run in. And everyone always is trying to figure out who's playing who in the secret scrimmage, what the score is, who did what, because at this point, college basketball fans are starving for any type of idea of what their
Especially
team
when their football team is 2-5.
right.
So around this time of the year, it's really cool to follow like the main college basketball writers, and they'll just tweet out like reports, Pitt playing Georgetown in a secret scrimmage this Saturday, or like UConn's gonna be playing like LSU at a secret scrimmage or something like that. And there's usually no footage, you just sometimes get a score, or sometimes they play like halves.
Get a box score.
Yeah. So sometimes they'll be like, they didn't keep score, but LSU looked a lot better. And all the LSU fans are like, yeah, we're amazing now. But for some reason that I'm very thankful for, we got like a box score and highlights and a final score from the Pitt secret scrimmage.
And what was that final score?
Pitt won 78-64. Georgetown has been great, new coach, but convincing win.
They
That's
brought in
taking care of business.
They brought in, I mean, Ed Cooley from Providence is the new coach there, replaced Patrick Ewing.
He's good.
Yeah, they brought in a decent transfer class. I don't know that Georgetown's going to be a tournament team or anything, but to go in and win by 14, and once again, I don't want to put too much stock into this. And if they had lost the secret scrimmage, we would not even be discussing this, and I'd say it does not matter. But since they won, I'm going to run with that. And want to give a shout out to George Michalowski, our buddy over at Pittsburgh Sports Now. Just read off some stats here from the matchup. Ish Leggett had a big day, 20 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists. Carlton Carrington, a ton of buzz around Bub right now. The other Bub, the basketball Bub.
Buy stock now.
Yeah, his stock is like skyrocketing. Like Apple when the iPhone was announced. 16 points, 3 rebounds, 5 assists. I mean, see the clips. He's hitting tough pull-up jumpers.
He's just a bucket getter.
Yeah, he gets buckets, and I mean 5 assists. Nothing to just gloss over as the starting point guard. Blake Hinson, 13.7 assists. Federico, 8 points, 6 rebounds, 2 blocks. Zach Austin, 8 points, 2 blocks. Jalen Lowe, 7 points. Panthers hit 10 3-pointers, 50% from the field. The videos, I've watched it 8 times now because I'm starving for Pitt basketball content.
And just general joy.
General optimism about my sports teams. I'm excited. And this is a good start. Once again, it's October. you don't really know what your team is until like February with college basketball, March, when it really matters. But it's promising. Where the big question mark coming into this season is, how are those guards going to hold up? They're going to be playing 2 freshmen and a transfer from Rhode Island. If the secret scrimmage is any indicator of what this season's going to look like, that backcourt might be pretty tough. And if that's the case, a lot of the other stuff's going to fall on the line, I think.
If guys not named Blake Hinson can score, and if they can win games despite like Blake putting up a relatively modest 13 points, this is a team to keep an eye on, because he's going to be the guy. He's going to be one of the best players in the ACC. And if this is a legitimate supporting cast coming to form around him, oh boy, we could be in for a fun spring.
Yeah, this is extra nice to see. There's a few outlets out there and people putting their power rankings or preseason predictions for conferences. I've seen a lot that had Pitt low in the double-digit finishing place. So I think I saw one that had Pitt 13th, saw Pitt 10th, and some other one. These aren't like very credible, top-notch reporters, but still, it's like, come on. I need some optimism here. Like, you're not buying in. Seeing this,
I saw
support what we thought this team could be towards the top of the ACC again.
I did see Archie Rothstein says top 3 finish, right?
Archie Rothstein,
yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's a lock.
Yeah,
You might as well book it. Yeah, I think this is a team. I think this is a team that can be really good. There's obviously question marks, but the fact that I think Bub Carrington is the biggest X factor maybe for this team. I mean, the point guard position was always going to be a question mark, even before the departure of Dior Johnson. I don't know. Streets are saying that they pushed Dior out the door because they didn't want it to cut into Bub Carrington's minutes. It's just what I'm hearing.
Yeah, it's a word on the street.
But if he can be you never really want to have to rely on a freshman point guard. But if he can be the type of player that there's starting to be some buzz around, like, could he be an NBA guy? He's a lot better than he was dubbed as a recruit. He's kind of just really good as a league guard. If he can really pan out and be a effective, not even just even just a middle of the pack ACC point guard, I think that's a big answer to what this team is kind of prayed for, and I'm getting too excited about a scrimmage that we got to see 2 minutes of highlights from, but basketball season's right around the corner, and I think Pitt has a real chance to build on what they started last year. It's going to be a very different team, and we'll have a basketball preview, so I'm not going to get all into that, but I need to be able to be excited about one of my Pittsburgh sports teams, and Pitt basketball is absolutely the front runner right now. Cable faithful, maybe make a comeback. I don't know.
Maybe. Can I return to my couch, please?
Yeah, go for it. Glad we hopped on. Glad we were able to do this. We'll talk to you all later this week. And as always, hail loyal sons of Pittsburgh.